Welcome to the second edition of the Funky Marketing Q&A. These are the sessions where different people from Funky Marketing team are joining me here to ask some questions from their standpoints, from the audience, from whenever, and to join me in discussions as well. So this week. I have my man Martin join me.
Hi.
Yeah, Adam, no worries. Video will be here and we'll upload it on the podcast platforms. So no worries. But if you have some questions, feel free to ask them in the chat.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to answer them. Right. So okay, Martin, tell us something a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm demand generation manager at your company. Yeah, I started out a couple of years before in marketing as a content writer, and from there move all the way up to funky marketing. Besides that, I like to train a lot. People notice that.
Yeah, trust me, guys, you can see that offline.
It's hard to see it online.
Yeah. I mean, it's after lunch, so we can grab a beer as well. But anyway, okay, Martin, let's start.
Okay, well, the first question I got for you, you told us in your last interview that you noticed a market gap for B2B when you started Funky Marketing. So I was wondering, how did you notice there was a market gap? How someone else will notice that?
Yeah, basically, there's still a huge gap over there. It's because I didn't target B2B companies right from the start. We started just going general. The When I left the company when I was working at, the everybody suggested that I go with lead generation. That I focus on LinkedIn. Okay, they got that right. So, but I wanted to go more with content, more with branding, more with that kind of stuff because I saw that performance marketing has a plateau. Right, it works
Yeah.
until we have the budget. So yeah, it's funny, but that's how it is. And I mean, it works just fine until you have the budget. So I started working with Impact Hub Belgrade first, I think, and that's where I saw that there's a huge need for those kind of services because they are working with a lot of startups, with a lot of companies, and I saw that basically not many companies have distribution figured out. They create the content, but it remains on the website untouched. Nobody is seeing that. I mean, if we exclude like 14 people from the countries, from the company and their relatives, so it's like 40 people overall. And it's a good content, but it's left behind on the to collect dust on the website. And also another thing is that all of those companies are have been involved around technology, around developing softwares or outsourcing their services, or those kind of stuff, and none of them have people actually present somewhere online. And I figured out, okay, it doesn't make sense because what is the thing that is motivating you to work on a technology? Yeah, there's a kitten
Yeah,
over
it's
here.
that's our newest member. He wants to
Yeah,
join the podcast, but I keep telling him no one understands him. But
yeah, he joined. So okay, cool. I mean, it's good that we have those kind of stuff. I mean, I even had a meeting with a discovery call with a potential client where he was actually feeding the baby while holding the baby while on the call, and I love those kind of stuff.
yeah, me as well,
And
because they show we're
Mhm.
human, They don't show an edited side of us. They show something raw.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's natural. So yeah, to finish the answer. As a company, as a technology company, you need your people to be excited about something. You need feelings, you need emotions, you need to show people in front of the company, because actually the people are those that are building the technology. They
Yeah,
are the ones that have the knowledge. And if a potential client knows that you have these experts around the topic, people that can develop technology, engineers, but also project managers and people that can communicate well with them, make their life easier, I mean, they will choose you instead of somebody else. So these were 2 points that I saw that not many people have figured out. So let's go. Also, I'm on LinkedIn all the time. So after Drift, not many companies have figured out to take over the platform and to use people to actually scale employees on LinkedIn, to develop employer branding, all those kind of stuff. I mean, we have now some smaller and newer companies like Gravy, Gong, doing really amazing stuff. Some others as well, but that's just still less than 5 companies.
yeah, yeah,
So there's a huge opportunity over there, and that's where we are entering. We are helping them bring B2C to B2B. So feelings, emotions, humanity, and all those other stuff that it's natural. And what I was talking with Zineb Layachi just a minute ago in DMs, it's like all going back to basics,
yeah,
because
yeah,
and other side of it is like we still doing lead generation like HubSpot says in 2011 or 12. We are still waiting for somebody to find us on Google. We are not going towards customer, and instead what we should do is we should look at what Netflix is doing, what Airbnb is doing, and go not only in two-way communications, but meet our customers halfway, even more than a halfway, get to them and make the experience unique, personalized, and just overall, it means create a brand.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you at all points. I remember when I started my content writing career, everything was focused on content production. I didn't even knew what content distribution was, It was all just produce, produce, produce. Never mind anyone reading it because it was all for SEO purposes, so that people find someone on Google. But I kind of felt that there was no content for the audience. You can't write content for SEO only. You have to write it for audience on mind first. And that's when distribution actually works. And when you said being human in B2B, well, I also noticed that, being human is relatable. People can relate to that. People can't relate to, Lord of the Rings, gods, monsters. We relate to other humans. Yeah, we don't relate to some abstract concept of some corporation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny that all those companies talk only about themselves. When instead they have so many stories inside of the company. Imagine like a company with 500 people. How many stories are hidden inside the company? You know, just by
There would be some crazy stories there between
yeah. I mean,
500 people.
just think about it. 500 people. I mean, you need 3 stories, but imagine like having 500 of them.
Yeah,
It's crazy what you can do with it and what kind of perspectives you can show to people and how many people can actually identify themselves with the stories of the people from the company.
yeah, because we relate on personal journeys and personal stories. Every one of us has a story.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. I was supposed to be the one
Okay.
answering, but I have a question for you. So how do you buy expensive B2B stuff or softwares? How would you go to buy something? What is the first thing that you will think about when, okay, I have this problem and I need somebody to solve it to me? What's the first thing that you are thinking about?
Well, the first thing would be to research different kind of products and to see what kind of company is behind each one of products. Because before I decide to buy a product, I would need to make sure that the company behind it is credible, that it's trustworthy. If I have to leave someone 20,000 euros, I would be really careful to whom I leave that kind of money. It's not the same as buying a $20 sneakers.
Yeah, but
And I would look.
yeah. So I'm thinking about it, and like my first step wouldn't be to kind of do the research. My first step would be who do I know that can help me solve the problem. And I mean, it takes us to the core of things that it's not important if we are buying a software or we are buying um, an ice cream or something else. It's the people and it's the
Yeah.
emotions, the feelings. So kind of like okay, and when I know the person or if that person cannot help me, I don't know anybody who can directly help me solve the problem, then okay, I go to the Google and I find and then I
Yeah.
compare the pricing and everything. I mean, overall, it's not a decision that is being made fast. So
No,
it's
not
something
at
that
all.
costs a lot of money, yeah. But that's that's why also like the trust moment is important, and that's why like those personal moments is important. When I need somebody to I don't know, to help me with sales, I would go probably to Jake Dunlop. If I need somebody who can help me, I don't know, with building a personal brand, I will go to Dave Gerhardt or Nick Bennett, or somebody else. If I need somebody to help me with I don't know, with startups, I would go to Zine Blajaci and Anna Furmanov, probably. That's
Yeah.
how I see things, and I think this is the way where everything will go. Also, like the influencers in B2B as well.
No, that kind of stuff goes for me as well. I remember when I had a client from the US and he wanted some web development beside marketing. And my first thought was, hey, I have a friend, Marco. He's a web developer. We hang out every day. I can trust in his skill. I see his skills every day. So, yeah, friends, we first look at what our friends can, our friends help us or recommend us something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so let's move on.
The next question. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I remember also from the last interview, you said you didn't had any money when you were starting your business, to act as a safety net or so I was wondering, did something else give you courage to start your business? Maybe your experience, maybe your talent or something else that you said, okay, this will cover up the lack of money.
yeah. Those were interesting times because I was having the wedding coming, and I was living outside of my hometown, so paying the rent on the apartment and everything. Okay, I had a fiance that was having a paycheck every month, but still I'm not somebody who likes to be dependent on the other people. And I figure out, okay, I still had 3 months of payment from the company where I was working at, and so I had a little gap, that I can
Yeah.
use, and I knew what I don't want to do. I want to do things right, and I knew that I'm not somebody who will build, multiple companies. Probably, you never know what's going to happen, but hey, so I wanted to do it right, and I started by focusing on the long term things. So if I focus on the long term things, it means that my mindset and everything that I do is a long term. And I
Yeah.
even had a guy that started a company with me.
Yeah.
He didn't have that patience and wanted to get results immediately. So I mean, I get it. He has a kid, has a family,
Yeah, we
and
all have expenses, and
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah. So
sometimes those pile up.
yeah, I totally get it. But if I change that at the times, I think we wouldn't have funky marketing as we have it right now. And
Really agree.
those kind of stuff. So
Okay.
yeah,
Do
him
you
is
hear me
my.
now? Sorry. Don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what.
yeah, it's okay. It happens. No worries. So yeah, that's kind of how do I see it. I kept talking while you weren't here, so
That's
just
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, I knew that if I do things right, it will work, and this is what a lot of companies now don't understand, because
Yeah,
you
you
need.
don't have the long-term mindset.
Yeah, I mean, we are making it just by focusing on the content, on the inbound, on brand, on giving real value, and that's it. Like back to the basics, as we keep repeating.
Yeah, and content takes a long while. It's not direct performance marketing. Hey, look at my product. Hey, buy my product. Hey, we're done. Content marketing takes time. Someone reads an article, then goes along with his life, even for a couple of months before, hey, remembering something. Yeah. Well, when it comes to starting a business, well, I haven't started mine, but I I heard a great advice from someone who's experienced with starting a business, and that was, if you were to open a business, let's say a restaurant, always remember that you need to have money to pay so that that business is running and going for 3 months before you say, hey, okay, this business isn't going. So you can keep it going for at least 3 months, even if there was no sales, no clients, no anything, before you can say, okay, this didn't turn out quite as I expected.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's true. I got the first client before we were even registered. So in December, and I registered the company in January, mid January. So yeah, I that's true. I mean, we had just one landing page and one PDF of 34 pages, which is like a strategy with our examples and a follow up, 5 emails follow up, and that's it. Basically, offering people free PDF strategy that they can implement on their own, and also a chance to jump with me on a 50 minutes or it was half an hour, I don't remember, a free call when I offer them consultations as well. And yeah, that's how we started. And literally the first night we got the first client in Panhab Belgrade, and it happens that we were in Belgrade and they are in Belgrade, so they message, we saw that we were in Belgrade, can you jump to our office tomorrow? We think that we can work together, and that's how it all started.
Yeah, I can't believe the company was only started in January. When I first joined you, it seemed to me that the company was there for like 2 years. That was the feeling when I first joined your company.
Yeah, you,
And
you mean you mean I was there for 2 years.
yeah, like you were there for 2 years. Well, my next question is about that. I remember the time when me and Ivan joined you, and I was wondering what made you select us. And what kind of things do you prioritize when you're selecting candidates for funky marketing?
Yeah, look, like there was also a guy before you two. Actually, two of them. One is the video editor, Atsa, that was with us at the time, and the other one was also Atsa. But somebody, my first hire was the guy that was my first team leader, and because he was somebody that I can trust. And I mean, he had some other skills that helped me at the time, but he was the first person that I went through because I needed somebody that I can trust.
Yeah.
Somebody that
Yeah.
will do the job basically, while I was going after clients and doing all this other stuff, also like doing the work as well at the time. And that's how it started. And because I had his help, I was able to, in video editor, I was able to produce, to focus on the content, to focus on like telling the story
Yeah.
and sharing the results as well. And by doing that, I mean, even recognize himself inside the story.
Yeah.
Also, I think, yeah, you were also the one who was commenting. We shared opinions on different posts, and and I like that you were kind of like edgy a little bit, like challenging me sometimes. And I like that. I like when somebody tries to not not agree with me, but saying, okay, might be work, but this is why, what are my opinion to that, and those kind of things. And I think that was it, yeah, basically.
Yeah. I was always edgy and opinionated. My mom told me when I was a kid, you're gonna be a lawyer or something, because they always like to argue and to present some new opinion about it. And it's funny that you mentioned podcasts because I was wondering, what do you think is the most important part of a podcast? One or two most important parts with someone will try to build a B2B podcast.
uh, it's to know your audience. I
Yeah,
think that's the
yeah,
most important thing,
yeah. For
and
me,
to
it would be,
know, yeah, and to know why you're doing it. Like those are the two things that I consider the most important: know your audience and know why you're doing something.
yeah. I would say, it would go in line with know your audience. I would say it needs to resonate with your audience. Yeah. If you're selling sports equipment, of course, you're going to talk about some interesting sports equipment or interesting subject about sport. If you're into printing, you're going to talk about something interesting in printing. Yeah, that's what it means to gives value. That content has to resonate with the audience. And I would say
Yeah,
that good video editing is also a nice touch to having a podcast, like you made with your trailer a couple of months before, like people are making them right now, so it has a nice intro. I don't know, for me quality design always shows some kind of trust, you know
yeah, it's
or
the next step. It's the next step. It shouldn't be an excuse, but it's the
okay,
next
yeah,
step.
yeah,
I mean, we started with only a laptop and laptop camera, nothing else. I mean, we are not very
guerrilla.
far from that, so it's just like a microphone and a web camera, and I didn't turn on the ring light, but I have it also. So I mean, this is not an expensive equipment,
I
so you
agree.
can do it as well. And it's not expensive to find also the video editor that can help you
No,
do at least some basic things.
I wanted to
But
say
yeah,
also about that, there are really good video editors and video producers in the Eastern Europe, Serbian movies and Czech movies are known around the world, there's even a Czech school of acting, Rarely who knows that, but I once dated a movie director, so I remember. Yeah. That's what I want to say,
yeah,
video editing is the
experience.
experience. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
cool. What
cool.
else do we have?
Well, I was wondering, let's say someone started out some kind of B2B business, what would his first 3 months look like, How would you do it?
Oh, Kalim, good to see
Hi,
you as
Kali.
well. Uh, So like starting B2B business, and
Yeah,
what should be like the first couple of steps?
yeah. First couple of steps.
uh, I mean, I always get back to the basics, you know. So it's um, get to know your audience. Who is your audience before you even decide what you're going to do? So it's going to be B2B, B2C, a product or a service. I don't know. Like get to know your audience, then create a community so you can get to know them better. So it's not only you that is getting insights from them, but so they can talk with each other inside the community, and you are just the ones. Okay, I see they're talking about these topics persistently. So there
Yeah,
must be a problem here. So if there's a problem, okay, let's come up with a solution. Then you keep listening. Okay, so we
yeah,
might need to create another product. So if if they are changing, so okay, we might need to change as well if we're gonna keep focusing on that, on those people, and that's how everything goes. Like I wouldn't go much further than just the basics. You create the
no, I
product,
agree.
then you create the content around it so you can help the people understand it better. What do they have from it? Because I've seen a lot of companies create stuff just because I don't know, they love technology. Okay,
Yeah,
so we're going to use I always use the example from the agri-tech startup that I was listening while I was the mentor for them, and it's like they met the farmer, and they put out their drones, and they were all up in the air recording the fields and everything. And so it's like wow situation, and then the farmer comes and he says, okay, we have those, let's call them drones or whatever, they're flying
yeah, that's
around, and it looks awesome, because I didn't see them ever in my lifetime. So but what will they do for me?
yeah,
I don't understand what will they do for me, because they need to talk about like those drones can scan the ground, the fields. They can come up
yeah,
with things that they need to add to increase the fertility, all those stuff. But they
yeah.
don't
Watch
communicate it.
out for
They
problems,
communicate, yeah, yeah.
or
They
they
just
can pick out
communicate
fruits.
the technology, their features, and it's everything about them. So getting to know
Yeah,
your customer,
yeah,
right, and putting them in the first place.
yeah. Technology is cool, but it can't be your core and focus. I remember when my web developer friend told me, "Okay, I'm a coder, I'm a programmer, but at its core, it's about solving problems." Yeah, those are logical, mathematical problems. But it's the same in marketing and web development. You're trying to solve a problem. That's what we always return to. You know, and
Yeah,
I would,
he's
and I
he's
would say,
calling saying that his first few clients are helping him build the solution, so community relationships.
yeah,
Yeah, and remember what we are doing. So we are working with a client to also kind of test our next product. So it's also a way of creating relationships. And before, while I was working in my first agency, we actually uh, created a startup with them. So with one of the biggest clients, we created a startup together, and I was a GM in the agency, and I was the CMO in the startup.
yeah,
So that's kind of getting it to the next level.
yeah. And like you said, getting to know your audience. Even when I first joined, okay, not joined, but entered marketing, for me it was always about customer research and audience. I always start from there. Whether I'm writing an article, whether I'm writing a copy, anything, because if I don't know the audience, none of it will resonate. You can still have a great content, but if it's not for that audience, it won't matter.
Yeah,
It can still be perfect grammatically, visually, you know whatever, but if it doesn't resonate, and it won't resonate if you don't meet your audience. And I like your approach about building a community, because That way, when you build a community, you already know where to search for your customer pain points and questions. You don't have to research them all around the internet. You have already made your little community, and you only need to visit that part.
Yeah, I mean, you remember the story about funky marketing? Like, it was first a Facebook group,
Yeah.
existing for 7 or 8 years. So that's how it all started. I printed out the T-shirts with funky marketing, and people actually bought them and were asking for more. So I knew that we have something here.
We need to print more. Yeah, I want one as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, definitely. With the new branding logo and everything.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question is, you already talked about that we need to be human. Okay, we will skip that question. We already talked about why we need to be human in B2B. Okay, I got one question from a person a couple of weeks before, so I wanted to ask you here. How do you distribute content effectively? B2B content.
With customers in mind again. Yeah, I mean, that's always a good question, but you need to know a couple of stuff before you do it and before you even write the content. So it starts when you write the content. So you need to know where is your audience, who is your audience, where are they, and what you want to do with the content. So if it's content made for sales, or if it's the content made for I don't know, for education, or it's the content made to get your customer, I don't know, from trials to being, regular customer, or is the content that will bring new email subscribers. There are many options there. So you need to figure out those stuff. Then you need to figure out also where you're going to distribute the content. So is it email? Is it LinkedIn page? Is it LinkedIn personal profiles? Is it Twitter? Is it Facebook? Or if it's like video content, will you distribute it as a video or as audio, or all those things? When you know all those stuff, then you can easily distribute the content.
Yeah,
Because it
easily plan
becomes,
it out.
yeah, it becomes an obvious thing, and then you create the content with distribution in mind. So if you are recording the podcast, then you have a person asking questions, other person responding, so it's easier to chop off the pieces. If you're
Yeah,
writing
because
articles, yeah, you are also coming up with outlines with distribution in mind. So you have a topic and you have the outlines based on the topic that you want to tackle. So basically you are talking with clients in different stages in buyer's journey, by sharing different parts. So
I
that's
agree with you. It's
yeah.
always good to start with distribution in mind, because I remember these couple of months when I'm writing content for our clients, it's way different because I already know how will I distribute it later. I'm a part of both process, so everything
Mm,
becomes much more smooth. You know, when I see content that wasn't made for the audience or for distribution, that was made only for sale purposes, that's where I have trouble with distributing it, with repurposing it, with making it clearer, with presenting it on a network. And I would say, when it comes to distribution, you don't even need to have to focus to all of the channels your audience is. You can only focus on your audience's main channel, one.
you can only
Right.
focus on one. Yes, it starts with one, and then you can diversify it, because like the content you are creating for LinkedIn can also be distributed on Twitter. It just you just break it down into the smaller pieces. It's actually perfect, because the way you write on LinkedIn is actually uh, Twitter is a great uh, additional channel for distributing the LinkedIn content. And a lot of people from LinkedIn are right now trying to build their audience and personal brand and everything else on Twitter, because they saw that the content that they are creating for LinkedIn is
Yeah.
actually easily adjustable to Twitter as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people are just screenshotting their Twitter
Yeah,
posts,
that's
LinkedIn posts.
another thing. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
something, At least he could have written it, not just
No, I
screenshot.
mean, I liked it. That's okay. I just don't like to, to share all the time someone else's content.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Oh, okay. We have a
Good.
question.
Yeah, from Jovana.
Kawana is asking, is your opinion, is it better to have some content distributed on all social media that you are, or is it more suitable to make different each from each one, let's say more proper for those media channels, because that they take more time, of course. Um, yeah, it can be the same content pieces, but just the tone of voice and the way they are presenting need to be different. Because, if you write a content for LinkedIn, you won't be able to share it on Instagram, let's say. You can share it on Twitter, as we just said, but in a different way. And I mean, we talked about it last time. I can repeat it. I like to use an example of Bruce Banner, or every time, every single time, because he's like on is the same person on every channel, but on LinkedIn he is Dr. Bruce Banner. On Facebook he is just Bruce Banner, like a family guy. On Instagram he is Hulk. And on Twitter he is like Greeny. And it's the same person, but he's presenting himself in a different way because he wants to be communicated with in a different way. On Facebook, we are communicated in one way. On LinkedIn, we are doing it in another way. On Instagram, we are again communicating through photos, through videos, again differently. And on Twitter is again another way of communication. Let's say we included Pinterest, like compared to Instagram. On Instagram, it's all faces, smiley faces, and everything. On Pinterest, the way we communicate is we chop off the head, because the head isn't important on Pinterest, and that's really how it is.
Yeah, I would say it's also you should also include the amount of words you're going to use in different distribution channels. LinkedIn has 1,200 max characters. You're much shorter on Twitter where you only have 200 characters. Facebook and Instagram often come in the middle, and so on.
Yeah, but let me give an advice. So let's say you want to present yourself on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So for the Facebook, I mean, you use a Google Doc or I don't know, a notebook, whatever, and you just write everything that you want to tell about yourself. So if you narrow it down to one pager, that's Facebook. If you narrow it down more, it's LinkedIn. And if you narrow it down to 140 characters, that's Twitter. And that's how you will learn to present yourself in 140 characters.
Yeah, 15-second pitch.
Yeah. Martin, how would you do it in 140 characters?
Yeah, present myself.
Uh huh. Right now.
Well, I'd say, uh, hmm, uh, I'd say read a lot, marketeer. Let's keep it at that.
Okay. I mean, just by saying your position, it's half of it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So my next question is, what was the most interesting B2B campaign you have led? Yeah, or be a part of, not just led.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in B2B, we don't actually do a lot of campaigns. As you know, we do the projects. So maybe we
Yeah,
can turn it out to be
yeah, projects.
a project, but I don't know. We have done so many different things. I always like the things when the client is understands what needs to be done. and is always engaging and approaching, and that's the situation when we can do a lot. So they understand the need, and they understand what we are doing and how we can help them, and then we can do a lot. And I mean, there are a lot of things, but I just like anything that we do that we see the results.
Yeah,
So these are the
yeah,
things that keeps me satisfied, and like no matter if it is like getting to the a certain revenue number, MRR or ARR, or getting more lifetime value from the existing clients, or if it's like getting the next stage investment. I
yeah,
mean, uh, I'm okay with all of that. Those are all relevant goals, and if we are contributing to the companies achieving them, I mean, I'm fine with that. So a lot of the things that we are doing is sort of similar or something in a way, because we are working with software-based companies, but people inside those companies are the ones that are different and that are making what we do a little bit, different.
yeah, yeah. I'd say also the
What's the favorite one for you? Because you
for
worked
me,
with a lot of them as well.
well, I'd say the one where they're building a tool for accessibility analysis and for all those other for SEO analysis and everything else. You
Yeah.
know,
So the product, right?
yeah, because that product was really interesting to me. The most interesting part was my friend called me a year before that, and he had the same business idea on mind, but he got hired from a company and totally forgot about it. So when I saw it for the first time, I was like, you know, okay, he had the same idea and didn't do anything about it, and nothing happened with it. I noticed that a lot of time. And I came up with some business idea, and a month later I see someone starting the same business. It's funny how when if you don't act on your business idea, someone will really soon, because somehow someone else will notice a gap in the market, or will notice some kind of product or service that is missing. And
Yeah.
when you said about clients and marketeers, I would say that in marketing is a bit of a specific profession, because there needs to be a lot of alignment between clients and industry experts or marketeers. You don't need that same kind of alignment. Let's say when you go to a mechanic to fix your car, you leave him your car, he either fixes it good or not, you pay him, and that's it. When it comes to marketing, there's a lot of communication, a lot of work on both sides, especially when it comes to LinkedIn. I remember when I worked in B2C, when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, you don't need that much client input. But when it comes to LinkedIn, especially personal profiles, you need a lot of alignment and communication with client, and a lot of his input. He has to tell you his story. I noticed that. Yeah, you can't help a client in B2B if they don't want to if they don't want to talk about their personal story, you know, about that whole journey that made them start a business or made them join it, their whole career. Without it, there will always be a missing personal element, and we will return to that it won't be relatable, if it isn't personal at all on some level. Okay, so for our next question, why not can you name me three B2C tactics you could use in B2B, that most of the businesses could use? Or some interesting B2C tactics you noticed recently that B2B marketeers could use. I can hear your mic.
Ah, yeah. My nephew was loud, so Yeah. So the definitely one of them is using feelings and emotions.
Yeah,
So the things that we
yeah,
already talked about, and this is definitely what we need to learn from B2C. I was saying a few months ago that I would say that we are successful and that B2B is starting to use B2C when like on a higher level. When I see the New Year's commercials like in B2C and B2B, that
yeah,
emotions and everything
yeah, yeah,
that's in them. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is you know saying uh, Instagram is just for that type of post. LinkedIn is just for business. Facebook is just for family. Twitter is for activism or the news, those kind of things. Like being specific to a channel and based on that, not actually investing in other channels. Because like somebody who is creating a great TikTok content can go to LinkedIn and be the only one, and it will be noticed because
yeah.
not many people are actually creating that kind of content. So just by doing that, they will get the diversity and the attention and everything else. Like I always said, I would like to see I don't know, a plumber on LinkedIn, like
Yeah.
sharing the stories with customers. I would die to and somebody who is like funny. I would die to read those stories because there's so many things out there to unpack. So that's one, and the third one is how do you use advertising? Like, okay, you need to just go to LinkedIn for B2B, or you cannot use Facebook and Instagram for amplifying the content consumption. So you should use it only for the leads, and those kind of things. But those two platforms are actually the platforms where they're not sales first platforms.
Yeah.
So, and those are the things that people need to understand. So by doing B2C, people understand, uh, or we understand how the customers are behaving, how people are buying, how they are behaving. Uh, you see, uh, let me say that people have the certain level of intelligence, and
Of
you
course
see
they do.
you see a lot of things. We give a lot of credit to people, and sometimes we consider us like a higher being, but we are not. There a lot majority of us are just like normal regular people that make mistakes, that doubt themselves, they all those kind of things, but we don't see it. If we are like B2B as it was, we don't show those things because it's just like tech,
Yeah, it's too rigid.
it's software. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Too rigid, and it
yeah,
acts like an armor. Well, I would say when it comes to B2B and B2C, I'd say that you need to be a bit edgy in B2B. Maybe not too much, but you need some kind of edge because that will make you unique. You need to be edgy a bit in your content, in your whole branding. And what else would I pull from B2C is that sometimes B2C has really good branding. When you take a look at Patagonia, whose mission is to save the planet, and they're aligned with their mission, you should never present a brand vision or mission you're not actually working on. That's when it's just talk. And I would say that, branding in B2C is something we should, well, not imitate, but look at as nice examples. We
yeah,
all
brand.
know Nike, and we all know what Nike represents, and we all know what
Mhm.
Coca-Cola represents, and you never see Coca-Cola doing direct performance marketing.
Yeah, but actually, Coca-Cola can learn a lot from companies like Netflix and Airbnb because they
Oh,
are
okay.
not going towards the customers, and
No, no,
in a way they still need to do two-way communications. They are doing some of it,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah. Their branding seems to be focused on the brand, not on the customer. I agree. Netflix would have more customer based branding.
Yeah. So yeah, those are good things. And when it comes to being edgy, I think uh, it goes to both B2C and B2C,
Of
B2B
course.
and B2C.
Of course, but people don't think they should be in B2B. It's kind of expected to be edgy in B2C, and people get scared when it comes to B2C. But being vanilla won't take you anywhere. You'll just blend in. Okay, it's a safe tactic, but I don't think it would pan out in the long term. You know,
Yeah. Especially if you're starting, you need to to change perspectives. So yeah.
especially if you don't want to be just a commodity. So, you often talk about not overthinking it. I thought about it, because I overthink it all the time. Well, not as much now, but so what would be some specific, steps when you say not overthinking? Let's say me, for instance. For me, it would be when I'm writing a copy. For me, not overthinking is just writing, the first or second draft. Then I'll edit it later and see if anything's missing. And I remember when I used to have a lot more writer's blocks before, because I overthought it. Now I don't overthinking. I just write the first thing that comes on my mind, and often it's great, that first thing.
Yeah, let me tell you an example of how the company overthinks it. So you have the company, which is let's say 300 people,
Yeah,
using a random example. And with 300 people, they have a marketing team, they have the sales team, they have the development team, and they have like the management. Okay, there are other people, customer success may be involved. Okay, but maybe not yet. So fast growing company, and what happens is, okay, uh, they grow up very fast, and because they did that, they think of themselves as a big company. Okay, so
yeah,
they don't look at the competitors who are always bigger, because the company that grew that much have the goals, to get even bigger and become somebody who will dominate the category, the niche, or whatever it is. And they forget that compared to their competitors, they are still small, and they
yeah,
need to act as a small company to be able to further develop and to kind of grow faster. Instead, they start implementing some management techniques and corporate structure inside the company. And what does it bring to the table? It brings that they overthink every idea that comes
yeah,
from any person.
yeah,
There is a multiple decision making levels even when they are not needed.
yeah.
So they are going and chasing perfection in every single piece of content. And what does it make? It makes them produce minimal level of content. So they
Yeah.
produce only the things that are perfect. Sometimes it's just one big piece of content per month, because they are overthinking it instead of going and see how things are performing and going well. Because, like, let's say marketing is something that doesn't need a lot of eyeballs on it when the decision is being made. As more people are
Yeah,
involved into decision making about marketing, it
and it's a work in progress.
it makes the marketing more vanilla. Because
Yes,
let's say
yes,
we have one person, and it comes with, okay, I'm gonna do this campaign, and it's gonna bring something edgy, something additional. Okay, and then comes other guy. But what will the investors think about it? So comes another guy, says, okay, but we will provoke so many people. Do we want that attention? And comes the third one and say, you know let's make it a little less funny. and I can go further with that, but you get
No, no,
you get
no.
the point.
It's the same in movie making, if you and it's the same in music, the more you try your song or movie, the more you're making your song or movie to be liked by many, the more vanilla it's gonna be, and the less it's gonna actually move some people. I remember a quote from Japanese poetry. It went something like this. It's easy to write a song that will be loved by many, but it's hard to write a song that will be loved by a few. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, well said.
well said. Well, let's see what kind of questions more I can ask you. So, what would you consider the most important skill for a B2B marketeer?
ah, we are again understanding the customers.
Yeah,
That's and but let's go further than that, like seeing the big picture, and you're seeing the big picture if you are in the trenches. So by doing things in the dirt, that's how you see the big picture, not by being a strategy consultant, outside of the company. It's by doing the things, specific things. That's how you see where the things are going. Because like if you're on social media in the trenches, posting, commenting, that's how you see what gets people excited.
yeah,
Not by just overlooking things, being on the meetings, and those kind of stuff. Also talking with customers, those are the skills that you need. Also, related to overall for the marketing is, I always say, knowing how to
yeah,
write is a skill that you need. You may not um, have some vocal skills, or you don't look nice, but knowing how to write will do so many good things for you, because if you know how to write a good copy, if you know how to say something in using as few words as possible, you will know also how to use that in some other parts of marketing, or
yeah,
in the job that you
yeah.
are doing.
No, for me it would be copywriting because, at its core, copywriting is crafting a message that will resonate. And it includes everything. It includes knowing your audience, what words you select, and you can apply that mindset to everything. Well, I was a copywriter in first, and now when I'm designing something, I always remember that part. What message am I trying to convey? That's really, really important in any kind of marketing.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Like
Oh,
that. What else do we have? Any more questions?
yeah. Uh, what? How do you do customer research? I was interested but really practical steps. How do you research a customer? Do you go on LinkedIn, take a look at their profiles? Do you visit Reddit or Quora or something?
Well, it all depends.
Okay.
Let's see. Um, I check all of it. Uh, all of it that you are saying, but also listening to the podcast. This is the new one that didn't exist before. So listening to the podcast is one of the most, I think, one of the best things that we can do today, because a lot of CEOs or decision makers have been on any podcast right now, especially startups. And if you go into that, you can see a lot of those things, because they are sharing also things related to their private life, also things related how did they get to the point where they are, how are developing things. So yeah, I would add podcast. And
I,
also, if they, I like to see if they have, like, okay, from some business related things are something that is, a must. you need to go to Google, you need to go to their website, you need to go to the blog, you need to go to see their personal profiles and everything, also checking what they are tweeting, because a lot of people
Yeah.
are when I was doing sales for a couple of months, we closed some deals just based on that. A guy was talking
Yeah.
about basketball on Twitter, not because we were talking about business on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So that, and what else? Personal blogs, if they have it, if they're sharing things on a daily level, that also helps a lot. Yeah, those are kind of the things. I also check with whom they are working with. If they're, yeah, basically that.
Having
Also
done
for
that
for for
before.
us, also for us is important if um, if we can figure out how is the culture inside the company. So we look at
Yeah.
if they have people who are active on social media, if they are freely sharing things, if they are actively working on their personal brand, if they have the well defined brand as well, because you can see those things easily.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yes.
those are kind of the things that we are seeing. Also, if they have the budget, is
Yeah.
also the important things. But we rarely go towards clients; they come to us. So I would turn the conversation to answer Kalim's question.
Okay, sure.
What are some things you have done in the education to create the right expectation for clients? Okay, so um, based on what I said, they come to us. So what we have done is we create the narrative that we are the ones changing the B2B industry. We are the ones that are ending the wrong way agencies are doing marketing. So just posting on social media and doing basic advertising, which is equal to not doing anything at all. Also, we have the team which is further expanding. So we allow the potential clients to get to know us as people, not only me as the CEO, but also you guys who will work with them closely, and also sharing results, sharing the things that we there are a huge stop for us. So sharing the things when we decided to stop working with clients, the things that we don't tolerate, the things that we are different and the way we are different. And we are talking also a lot about what are the companies that we want to work with. So those are kind of the things. Also sharing, our roadmap. How did we get to the certain MRR, or how we are going to expand it? Also holding us accountable for those things as well, and it creates trust. In that way, also showing ourselves. Like I don't know. Now we have Martin, you here on the podcast. We had Linda last week. Then we'll have other people from the company. Um, I'm the one who is present every week on different podcasts. So we present ourselves not only as people, but also as the ones who have the knowledge as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, transparency all the way. Like, to be honest, uh, I'm now here in my hometown. So when I first came here, my mother told me, you're sharing everything, but because even she knows that I'm sharing sometimes even too much. But that's because I'm trying to change the narrative. I'm trying to change who we are. It's not about sharing everything. I'm not sharing even half of it. But
Yeah.
because I'm sharing more than
Absolutely.
others, it looks like I'm sharing more. So yeah, so that's it. I think a lot of things, B2B is still foggy, still misty, still a lot of people don't understand everything. Also, demand gen is like that. Before a few companies got into the industry, it was more of a SEO industry. So, and SEO people are the ones who are, I think, the less transparent of all. So they amplify the not transparency part. So those are all the things that we need to change and that we are changing.
Yeah, because transparency builds trust, and we talked about it through the whole interview that trust is what brings sales. If you can trust someone, you'll go into business with him. If you can trust someone, he may end up to be your partner for life. Yeah, but if there's no trust, there's not anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm all done with questioning my CEO.
Cool. This was a long episode, but we tackled a lot of stuff, and um,
We had a cat.
Kalim and others were involved. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
thanks
it's
for.
good. I think it was a good one. And yeah, I mean, guys, thanks for being here. Martin, thanks
Thanks a
for
lot.
being here to ask questions and give your opinions as well.
Thank you for.
So yeah, my nephew is running around, so it means it's time that we stop with this. So yeah, guys, thanks for being here. Talk to you next week. I think I will probably have Alexander from our team, our content writer and copywriter, to talk about some different things. And yeah, let us know in comments if you have any questions. We will make sure that we answer in some of them. And let me know if how you like this Q&A format, because we will still keep having guests, but this will remain additional part of the episode. So we're going towards having 2 episodes per week of the Funky Marketing Podcast, and maybe even more. We'll see. But let us know if you have also some other formats in mind, because we are open to all the suggestions. We're trying to go further with content and develop some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I liked being on the show. We got to do it another time.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you,
See
Colin.
you.